Hey community, want to try to respond to some of people's questions about what would this look like after we buy CrossFit. And again, assuming we buy CrossFit, we're what we're doing right now is setting up a nonprofit, and we're going to trademark an alternative brand that gyms that follow Coach Glassman's methodology can unite under, and we'll start bringing affiliates on board as affiliates of that new brand. If you have de-affiliated or you just want to be involved earlier on, there are some benefits to being involved earlier on, just like there were when the CrossFit brand started. If you were an early affiliate with CrossFit, you paid a lower affiliation fee. The same will be true of this brand. And we will use this brand as an option in negotiating the purchase of CrossFit. I have my reservations about the CrossFit brand, but there are a lot of people in the community who absolutely love it and feel a real sense of loyalty to the brand. And unfortunately, that's been helpful to private equity in terms of they own the brand, and the people that feel loyalty to it continue to pay their affiliate fees despite the fact that they're not really getting value from it. In fact, there may be a significant group of people who are not coming into our gyms who are unable to help get healthier and fitter because of the CrossFit brand. They're intimidated. They hear stories about people getting hurt and think that CrossFit causes injuries as a result of the NSCA case. They think it's too intense because of the CrossFit case. But I think there's value in buying the brand, rehabbing, and I think a large portion of the rehab would simply be, hey, the company is now under new ownership. We are the affiliates, the gyms, the ones that are doing the work on the ground, helping people get fitter and healthier, now own the company. I think that would be a huge step towards rehabbing the brand. So I'm open to the idea. Again, I don't know that it will happen. The owners may not want to sell it to us at a price that is reasonable. Anything more than 100 million probably is, we're better off just putting that money into promoting the new brand, starting with a clean slate. Again, I think in terms of promoting the new brand, we will have a clean slate, and the news of 1,000, 2,000, eventually 5,000 affiliates moving over to this new brand, that alone would be enough newsworthy viral story of a story to kind of kick off and establish this new brand. Plus, if we had, again, $100 million and we could use that to market it. And again, to get back to the original discussion of what would it look like once affiliates own the company, whether it's the new company with the new brand or we end up buying CrossFit, the company would still be run off of affiliate fees. We would promote the brand, we would defend the brand, and we would differentiate the brand. So we'd promote the brand by filming and telling the stories of transformation that happened in the gym. We'd highlight the average Joes and Janes in our gyms, getting fitter, becoming better humans, better parents, better friends, better partners, better employees, better bosses, better firefighters, police officers, military, members of the military. We would highlight those things, and there'd be less focus, or maybe even no focus, on games athletes in the games. I think there's value in the games to the community in terms of I think it's a very bonding thing for the community. It's a motivational thing for the existing community. But in terms of getting out the message to CrossFit to people that are not in gyms, I think largely intimidates people. I think it inspires some people and wants them, and they want to come in and try out CrossFit. But I think at this point, there's probably a few people that haven't seen the games and aren't already inspired in a gym. At this point, I think largely people see someone snatching 300 plus pounds, and that does not convince them to come into a CrossFit gym. It intimidates them. So we would promote the brand, we would defend the brand against the false accusations that came out of both, I think, our competitors saying these things, our competitors including the NSCA that published that fraudulent study. Unfortunately, private equity settled that lawsuit instead of exposing the NSCA, but there's no reason we can't, especially if we own the company, we would see what that NDA looks like. We would still be able to communicate the findings of that trial prior to the NDA, I believe, but we could look at that and see. Anyway, we would make the publicly make the case that CrossFit does not cause injury, and we would do this also by highlighting studies that show CrossFit doesn't cause injuries, that it's less injurious than other programs, and we could also point to things like sitting on the couch and the chronic disease that comes from lack of exercise being more dangerous. And so we differentiate the brand also. So, what's different about CrossFit? We make the case of why CrossFit is a more effective methodology than, say, F45 or Orange Theory. What's different about our methodology and their methodology, and why is ours better? Those are things that are not being done. It costs money to do those things, and private equity isn't interested, whether it's the current owners or the next owners. They aren't really interested in spending money to promote the brand positively. That helps affiliates. It does not change their bottom line revenue. It increases their expenses, but it does not mean they get more money from affiliates. Now, arguably long term, it would improve the brand and you'd see more affiliates coming on board, but they're not interested in long-term investments. They're not interested in spending money now to pay back down the road. They're looking at quick turnaround, immediate profitability. And the way they do that, the kind of formula for private equity, is to cut costs, raise fees, and then sell it. And so they've done all those things, and now they're looking to sell it. So the solution is, again, comes back to affiliates owning the company. Affiliates owning the company puts the objectives and the mission of the owners of the company and the owners of the brand in line with the mission and objectives of affiliates, because they're one and the same. Affiliates own the company and they own their gyms. So the owners of the company are going to be pushing and driving the company and the brand to spend our fees in ways that help gyms, versus let me see how I can make more profits, how I can spend less, do less, cut costs, and then raise fees. In fact, one of the big things I see happening that I will propose to the board is that we roll back the fee increase from $4,500 to $3,000. Greg ran the company for years, for over a decade, with $3,000 affiliate fees, and had money to spare. He took profits. So I'm unconvinced, and that's private equity had to raise the fees, they claimed, despite slashing all kinds of costs. The math doesn't add up, and so I'm not buying it. We can easily run the company with affiliates paying $3,000, and if we need more revenue, the way we get it is by adding more affiliates, and we do so in a smart way, by creating more demand. Not by just willy-nilly opening affiliates, but we create more demand by promoting the brand. It's a long-term investment. It's an investment that affiliates are willing to make, but private equity or an investor never would. To get into a little more nuance, the company would be owned by affiliates who would, as an owner affiliate, you would vote for a board of directors. We're going to have a board of directors of somewhere between 10 and 20 board members. Initially, that board of directors is going to be the first 10 to 20 founding affiliates that come on board and invest, pay an affiliate fee. Those founders are going to have a reduced affiliate fee. So if you are convinced that we need to do this, I recommend getting in sooner than later. Once we have the company founded, we will be part of that founding. We'll be creating an affiliation agreement and trademarking a brand that affiliates can unite under. And then at some point we'll have elections for board members. So if we bring on 1,000 affiliates and those 1,000 affiliates don't believe that the current board is doing a good job of running the company, directing the company would be run by employees and executives, much like how it is now. The main difference being, again, that the board is directing the company and the board is made up of affiliate owners. But if at any point the affiliated gyms don't believe the board of directors are running the company well, they always have the final resort of just de-affiliating. But the better solution would be, let's vote in new board of directors. And so you have multiple avenues for every individual affiliate to put in their input on how the company should be run. And the board of directors, if they want to stay on the board, will be looking to understand what affiliate owners need to do. But again, they are themselves affiliate owners, so largely they're going to do what's best for themselves, which is also likely best for all affiliates. So I think that's generally how the company's going to run. We'll still collect affiliate fees. The affiliate fees would be rolled back from $4,500 to $3,000, with the initial affiliates, who are the founders, getting a slightly reduced affiliation fee. And again, if you want to get in earlier, whether you want to be a founder or one of the initial affiliates, just like CrossFit originally started, there will be tiers, and the founders will have one affiliation fee. The fee will go up, and folks that come on later in the game will pay another. And if you come on even later in the game, then you would pay an even higher affiliation fee. I think $3,000 is where we would likely stop. But I don't know. We'll see. If the brand became more valuable, maybe there is a justification for going to $4,500. But one of the things I believe is that if we're doing a good job of promoting the brand, creating a brand that people want to be a part of, or driving people to affiliated gyms because they want to be part of the brand, they see the promotion, they see the content we create of people in the gym and say, that looks like me, that person looks like me, if they can do this, I can do this, and they got fit. Here's the before and after pictures. I look like the before, I want to look like the after. And that's a real person, not an actor in a studio with blue jugs, or a games athlete, and you don't think, oh, I can never be that. While it may be inspirational for some, is intimidating for others. And so if you see the average Joes and Janes, you're creating demand for those services. I want to turn my life around. I look like that before, I want to look like that after picture. And so you create that demand, you drive more people into gyms, and then we create more gyms. Kind of lost my train of thought there, but if the board is doing a good job of that, they'll stay on as the board. They want to do that for their own affiliates. And again, I think ultimately the way we increase revenue, we follow Greg's model of more affiliates grow the pie instead of taking a bigger slice of it. And I think I can envision, if we're doing that well, there is certainly a large population that needs better health and fitness. And if they see this new brand, or if we buy CrossFit, they see the CrossFit brand as a way to get there, we'll be driving people into the gyms that are affiliated with that brand. And that's the intention. As we do that, we create more demand. There's a need for more gyms. We grow the number of gyms. And at some point we have so much revenue, not from increasing fees, but from so many affiliated gyms, that we actually struggle to find ways to spend the revenue. And if we're doing a good job of continually promoting the brand, defending the brand, and differentiating the brand, again, this becomes easier and easier, right? The brand is established and we just maintain it. Right now we've got a challenge of turning around a brand that is, in many people's eyes, a negatively perceived brand. So we spend the money, we promote the brand, we create more incentive. And again, at some point, and somebody said, well, what's the ROI? You're asking me to invest in potentially purchasing CrossFit. What's the ROI there? And there is no ROI. In fact, one of the reasons we're looking at establishing this new organization as a nonprofit is because there's no scenario where we're going to pay out gyms a profit. The scenario is you're putting in affiliate fees, we're pooling our money to promote this brand, and if we don't need more money because we have so many affiliates and we can't figure out how to spend the money in a productive way, we're going to reduce affiliate fees even more, right? We're going to drop it from $4,500 to $3,000. But if we don't need 3,000 times, let's say right now there's 10,000 affiliates, if we reach 20,000 because we're creating so much demand, because we're promoting the brand in a way that people are coming into gyms that never came into gyms before, or were intimidated to come into gyms, now we've doubled the number of affiliates. And this was Greg's model, right? If we just keep growing the pie instead of taking a bigger slice. And so the more demand there is, heck, even at some point, if there's 20,000, 30,000 affiliates, we could start arguably being sponsored by brands. Now that comes with its own issues, and I know Greg warned about that. But again, we would never be generating revenue to the point of paying out profits. We would simply reduce the fees on affiliates. So that's the ROI. Like, your expense related to being part of this brand goes down. And so, we're looking at, I think if we asked affiliate owners to throw in a significant amount of money to be able to buy the company, I think it becomes something where we probably want to look at, maybe we go for profit. But again, I don't foresee that happening. When the owners and the customers are the same, the profit you see would be really a reduced expense in terms of being part of the brand. I don't know if that answers all the questions people have about how this would work after we buy the company or after we start running the new company and the new brand. But largely we would have, your affiliate fees would go towards, creating content. And that would mean we would have a media team. We would bring back the media team. Savan in a recent podcast said, for $500,000, you could, every week you could create, a gym profile and highlight members in the gym. And I say we do that times 5, and 5 times a week we have a new gym profile coming out where we walk into a gym with a camera crew and we interview the people. At one point the best way to promote your gym was word of mouth, right? Well, let's take people from the gyms around the country and take their reviews and recommendations and record the best of them, and the best transformations out there, and let's record those and put them out to the entire world and use that to promote the brand. Highlight people, grandmothers working out in gyms, moms, professionals, but also law enforcement, firefighters, but also moms and dads and teens and kids, and show people that CrossFit is all these things and everybody's getting fitter and healthier by using this methodology. So we would hire back a media team, but again, we'd have an executive team, we'd have managers who manage the different departments, we'd have affiliate reps who are talking to affiliates, figuring out what their pain points are, helping them solve it. Big picture, somebody asked about credentials. We would recognize in the short term existing CrossFit credentials, and my recommendation, again, some of these things are my personal recommendations to the board, but ultimately they're going to be up to the board to decide. My recommendation is that we acknowledge all existing CrossFit credentials and set no expiration until we have our own education and training department. Now, if we buy CrossFit, we take that over and we look at how we can improve on that. If we were to create our new company, I think eventually you'd have, much like you'd have affiliates move over, you'd probably have some trainer and ed staff that may want to move over, or that we just create a new model, or maybe something that layers on top. CrossFit certainly has a best of breed at this time, but I think there's rooms for improvement. So one of the things I think we can improve on is, right now I believe the current system incentivizes people to wait 5 years to take a level 1, which is, in my opinion, a great course, but also a what is CrossFit and not a how to coach CrossFit. And the level 2 was originally called the Coach's Prep. And so CrossFit, the training and education right now, incentivizes people to take the level 1, have no training on how to actually coach, other than maybe the people they observed at the level 1, and then wait 4.5 to 5 years before they take their level 2. This is feedback I gave to Don when I met with him, and nothing came of it. Things as simple as, it makes no sense that a gym owner has to be a level 2. The question should be, why is every gym owner not on their own wanting to take the level 2? And there's logistical issues where, hey, the level 1 is offered in my town, every couple years, but the level 2 I have to fly to. And I suggested, the answer was to look at those type of things about why people are retaking the level 1 a second and third time instead of taking their level 2. In my opinion, I don't understand how every gym owner is not just a level 2 out of I mean, I took my level 1 and within 12 months I had taken my level 2, and that was because I knew I wanted to open a gym and I sought out that training. But I ate that 4.5 years of expiration I could have had. So one of the other things I said to Don was, hey, if we just extended the expiration instead of reset it, so you take the level 1, you get 5 years, you take the level 2 right away, you lose that 5 years, it resets your expiration and you're expiring again in 5 years. I would rather see somebody take the level 1, 6 to 12 months later, take the level 2, and then give them 9 years before they have to recertify. That way they're getting that knowledge of how to coach from the coach's prep course. That was the original name of the level 2. Take that course sooner, be a better coach for 9 years, then take the level 1, not really know how to coach and kind of figure out as they go for maybe the next 4 years, and then maybe even just retake the level 1 and 9 years goes by and they haven't even taken the level 2, which is called the coach's prep course. I mean, that's insane. But that's the logic, and a lot of it is because private equity is looking at these things and saying like, well, that doesn't, how can we squeeze more money out of it, and maybe extending the expiration isn't going to give us more revenue. What if we just force them to take the level 2 immediately? And again, that kind of increases the short-term profitability of the training department, and when they're trying to sell, that helps, right? But again, that's not our objective. Our objective is to make the coaches as great as they can be. Coaches are the face of the brand, even more so I would say than gym owners. Coaches are the people who are representing the brand to the public, and people come in and try out the gym, and if the coaching experience isn't helpful and caring and friendly, they're not going to come back, and they're probably going to tell 5 other people that they tried CrossFit and it wasn't for them, and it's going to make people less likely. But if you have, arguably, I think most people would tell you they believe that CrossFit coaches are the best coaches in the industry, and I don't disagree with that. But I think it's a serious issue if you are using the low bar set by others to assess your own performance. And so we should still be looking at being the absolute best, and making sure our coaches are caring and friendly, and I believe that can happen through better education and training. And so things like creating an online model where we can drip content to them on a daily or weekly basis. You have 52 weeks in the year, you have arguably 5 years in between credentials, and CrossFit training and education is incentivizing people to do no training in that time, at least formal training, versus if we were to create some online content, a 5-minute or less video on, a trick or tip to put in your bag of tricks. Something like, here's this cue that worked well for the shoulder press. Here's this way to teach a deadlift that just worked better for some people. And you fill that bag of tips and tricks over the course of 5 years, and they come to the level 2 with a bag full of tips and tricks, instead of, okay, you did your level 1, we'll see you again in 5 years, and maybe you're doing your level 1 again. So these are all things, again, I mentioned to Don. I met with him twice when we were an affiliate in the 4 years he was CEO and we were still affiliated. The only one he seems to have implemented is the mandatory level 2 for owners, and it wasn't even like you can't retake your level 1, it was you have to have your level 2. The fact that they have to mandate gym owners to take a level 2 is just completely the wrong way of thinking about it, and tells you again that it's a money grab. The motivation is not to make coaches better. It's to get more money in the short term. So that's my thought on education. My thoughts on ROI, my thoughts on what the ownership and the people running the company would look like. Some people will suggest, oh, there's no plan, none of this has been thought out. It's absolutely all been thought out. We've been working on this for 12 to 18 months. The people that say that stuff haven't spent the time to understand how this is going to work. They don't have the capacity or the knowledge to know how it works. And you know what, you're a gym owner, you have some business knowledge, but you don't need to know necessarily the inner workings of it. And if you haven't spent the last 12 to 18 months like me thinking about how this would all work, it's understandable. But to assume that those things haven't been thought out And arguably it's our job to communicate those things to y'all if we're going to try to convince you to be a part of this movement. But just know that there is a plan. These things are all thought out. If there's specific things I didn't mention in this video that you want to know more about, let's talk about it. The key to this happening is that we spread the word. So make sure you're talking to other gym owners. Not every gym owner is on Instagram. It's not a perfect tool. It's what we're using for now. And also know these videos often get cut short on Instagram. So YouTube channel, you need to start heading over to the YouTube channel. When you see one of these videos on Instagram and it gets cut off, the full video will be on YouTube. And in this message, I'm gonna have to move to the beginning of the video because this will likely get cut off, but this is a longer video. I appreciate your time. Again, feel free to post some comments and questions. I had some people ask these specific questions in the comments of the last video, and I answered them in the comments as well, but I figured I'd make a video. If they're thinking about this, other people are probably thinking about this stuff. And maybe there are things we haven't considered and we don't have a plan for because we're just overlooking it. So happy to hear from you there. We want to make sure we got all our T's crossed and our I's dotted. We can make this happen. Just spread the word. Make sure you're talking to other affiliate owners. Make sure they know. Have them email us, cfaffiliatecollective@gmail.com. And if they're interested in at least, hey, I want to be a part of it. I want to know what's going on. I'm not sure I'm ready to commit yet. That's fine. Like I said, the folks that have been following it and get in early and become affiliates and are part of the solution versus sitting on the sidelines are going to be rewarded with the lower affiliate fees. And this is exactly how it worked when CrossFit was first formed. So again, reach out if you have questions, talk to other affiliate owners, have them email us, cfaffiliatecollective@gmail.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great weekend.